Hello everyone, welcome back to another video here on Play on GAA with me, Seamus Brady. Luke Peyton is here with me. We also have Jason Keelan from the Loaf of Bread GAA podcast, and we also have journalists from Mayo, Chloe Lynch, to help us pick an all-star football team from the TAILTEANN Cup now that the competition is over in its inaugural season. Of course, Jason, a Westmeath man yourself, you're a proud Westmeath man, first champions in the competition's history. How is the vibe down there in Westmeath after such a great success?
Yeah, pretty special to be honest. A little bit of kind of double history, I suppose. We won the first Christie Ring in '05 as well, which is it's nice for a county, I suppose, who traditionally doesn't win a massive amount, particularly in the men's senior level. It's nice to, I suppose, have that little kind of quiz question in our back pocket, winning Christie Ring '05 and now the first ever TAILTEANN Cup as well, which is nice. The buzz was brilliant. Lads came back through the towns and stuff here, made their way to Mullingar. You probably saw on Sunday game and stuff, the atmosphere in the middle of the town was just buzzing, and it's kind of been like that for the past few days. There's probably still a lot of sick heads and people dying in their beds at some stage. Yeah, it's just been pretty much a party for the past. Although in saying that, the club championship did kick off the other night, so yeah, there were a few heads in that who probably would have preferred to be sitting on the bench instead of having to play at the weekend. But yeah, it's brilliant. It's great to see it being taken seriously. Was the big thing. There was obviously the risk of it going south and teams not really caring, and there was talk of team up the north, saying they didn't really care about it. They were going to go on holidays, and then you saw or a lot of people saw the list of lads who were heading out to Chicago in particular for the championship, and you kind of thought, or some of mostly they're all Mayo lads who are out there at the moment, as Chloe well knows. The Chicago Championship is now as good as the All Ireland at the moment, but it did look like some lads were going to jump ship before it started. But thankfully, it got to the end, and it was pretty epic, to be fair, to be in Croke Park that day. It was a better of the games that day because Galway Derry, it was hard to stay awake for the first half. It was that bad, but yeah, we're delighted, and it got the lads a team holiday. They got their 10 grand towards the team holiday. They get their place to fight for Sam Maguire next season. So onwards and upwards, I suppose, for us, really.
Yeah, no doubt. I mean, the holiday on its own would be enough of a purpose really to go for it. But as I've said, this is the all-star team selection, and we've assembled a good crew now to actually pick. Luke, I'm going to come to you for the first position in the team. Of course, that is goalkeeper. So the four nominees really here are the four teams that did reach the final four. Of course, you've got Raymond Galligan from Cavan, one of the most complete goalkeepers in the game, in my opinion. Jason Daly from Westmeath, I thought he was very solid. Kickouts very good throughout the championship. Paddy Dunnigan from Offaly, I think he's a worthy shout. And then, of course, Aidan Devaney from Sligo, of course, the hero in that penalty shootout against Leitrim. They make it to the semi-final. His kickouts are very good throughout the competition. Which one of them four really kind of sticks out to you as being the main candidate?
Yeah, well, look, I thought personally that based off originally when I was looking at Ulster and everything as well, and you're looking at the form team at the start of the championship as well, I thought Galligan was the best keeper in the country by a decent bit. And look, I think it's been a pretty poor year for goalkeeping in general. You see, like a lot of if you look at the All Ireland even as well, a lot of keepers making mistakes as well, and you can nearly argue I think that Galligan's been the best keeper in all competitions too. So I'd have Galligan as well. Look, I know that maybe potentially some of his best games happened outside of the TAILTEANN Cup, that they actually happened in Ulster, but I still think he was solid in the TAILTEANN Cup as well. He adds that kind of dimension. He's able to kick frees from everywhere as well, and look, his kickouts are pretty perfect too. So I'd be going Galligan for there.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with you. I think the other three are good shouts. I think Devaney, the fact that he was the hero in a penalty shootout, I feel like that does put him up as a good candidate. But when it comes to the overall game, the free taking, I think Galligan was head and shoulders above every other keeper. So he goes in there as our number one. Then I'm coming to you, Chloe, for the full back line. So very, very good list of obviously candidates here. We've got all-star Pádraig Faulkner from Cavan, two lads here from Westmeath, and Jack Smith and Kevin Maguire. Then obviously Jamie Ganood from Westmeath is another good shout there, and Evan Lyons then from Sligo. So which ones out of them really kind of jump out to you as being the main shouts?
Well, like Lyons did very good for Sligo. It was a massive achievement to get that far. I know they didn't get the goal that was wanted at the end. But Sligo, they were a team that kind of overlooked a bit. And like, but at times people thought they'd pull it off considering all the success, like I won't say success, but all the experience they have, like in say Sam Maguire into county. So have to go Lions.
Yeah, no, Lions is definitely a good shout. So I think he slots in there at one corner. Jason, I'll come to you for another man in that full back line.
Yeah, I suppose I know Chloe went for Lions. I suppose my Westmeath tinted glasses are easy to put on in this case, that having seen Kevin Maguire club and county for so long, he's kind of up there for me with, you know, Jason Foley, Brendan Rodgers, perhaps, you know, with the kind of complete fullback in many ways, that he has that ability to kind of go forward and go back, and then he pulled off a sensational block on the line and against Cavan in the final as well. But yeah, for the other I suppose corners of it, my Tailteann Cup team that I kind of made, I had to jiggle positions to fit the lads in. So I had Kevin Maguire in, and I stuck in Jack Smith in one corner. Skerry's Harps man, playing for Westmeath. He's fantastic. He's just fit, agile, reads the game so well. He's had a very, very good season from start to finish. Really, he hasn't really put a foot wrong at all. And then I put Porrick Faulkner on the other side. Even though I know he's traditional fullback, it's just I really wanted to get the two of them in. I just thought he's exceptional as well, and not just because he went to college with my brother, and you know, my brother thinks he's sound and all that. He's just a class act as well. So yeah, it's a tricky one. And then, you know, you mentioned Jamie Ganood. I had Jamie in the half back line because he's well able to roam forward when he wants to as well. So
yeah, so Kevin Maguire then in at fullback, which then, Luke, you have the deciding votes. We got Lions in one corner. We got Kevin Maguire fullback. Porrick Faulkner, I mean, he's right there. And then obviously Jack Smith. Tough choice here.
Yeah, look, well, I would have went with Ganood in the corner. But look, if it depends on how we want to fit this in with the half back line as well. Look, I think Ganood was named cornerback a bit, and that's why, look, I was thinking to just slot him in there as well. I think he had a better season than the two other lads as well. And that, look, he was probably the brightest spark, I think, in that in that Westmeath backline as well. I thought he was the one that stood out to me the most. And look, I think we'll name Ganood a 4 anyway as well, because I think he was the best number 4 in the Tailteann Cup by a fair bit.
Yeah, definitely Ganood is a good shout there. We'll carry Faulkner and Jack Smith into the half-back line here, just to kind of give some more competition to lads here. The other names, of course, in the half-back line up for debate: Johnny Maloney from Offaly, Jason Mclaughlin from Cavan, Ronan Wallace from Westmeath, and Jared Smith, shoehorned in, shall we say, in the half-back line. He tends to play pretty much anywhere for Cavan. But yeah, Chloe, coming to you for this. Which one of them first 3 names would you like to slot in?
As for me, I'd have to go Jack Smith. I think he had a great performance throughout this whole cup, and you know, he did the Westmeath like that. He was going to have a good tournament, but for me, I think he was just one that just kind of shocked, and he put up a great performance. And you know, it's one to keep and consider for next season when Westmeath are looking who will keep up the good run. So for me, I'd have to say Jack.
Yeah, Jack Smith. I'm happy to go with that. Jack Smith slots in at right half back. I can't put my words together. Jason, of course, some very good shouts here. I mean, the likes of Ronan Wallace, the likes of Porrick Faulkner, Jared Smith. Which one is next in for you?
It's Ronan Wallace without a doubt. The guy has kind of nearly transformed multi-GAA here in Westmeath as a club, like with his pace. It's, you know, defensively solid in the centre half back position, but going forward, the guy is so hard to stop, and he's got as much athleticism as any defender in the country, really. He's just constantly back and forward. Defensive job, as I said, does very well. He sort of holds that sort of two lines of 3 that we would generally have in defence. He holds that together pretty well. As he shuffles, the guys around him will kind of shuffle as well. So, yeah, Ronan Wallace without a doubt, definitely.
Yeah, I'm happy. He would have been my first one in. I think he's been absolutely magnificent when you think about the goal he scored against Offaly. Like, his powerful runs have been a feature of the championship in general. I mean, that he was tearing Kildare apart with it in the Leinster Championship as well. So that's 2 in. We've got Jack Smith in, we've got Ronan Wallace in. Luke, to round off the half-back line, obviously I mentioned the last ones there left, really. Jason McLaughlin, of course, then Jared Smith, Porrick Faulkner. Which one is the last one in for you?
Yeah, look, I Jason McLaughlin. I think that he's been consistently adding scores to his game as well. He comes forward, he's well able to kick off both feet as well. And he's like a kind of underrated man marker, I think, as well. I think he's just an absolute nailed on, I suppose, in Cavan, and that, like, he's been playing right off back a fair bit for them as well. And look, I think he's just impressed me every time I watch him. And yeah, I don't know if it's probably the popular choice as well, but he'd probably be the one I'd be leaning out of the 3 of them anyway.
Yeah, I'm happy to go with that, which brings us on to our midfield selection. So we've got quite the selection here. And to be fair now, a lot of lads in this section, we can move into the half forward line. A lot of these lads have played in the half forwards as well. But Sam McCartan from Westmeath is a very, very, very strong candidate. Gerard McKiernan from Cavan, the same. Thomas Galligan from Cavan was excellent, and his red card in the final definitely changed the game. Sean Carabine from Sligo as well is a great shout. And Ray Kennellan from Westmeath. They're our list. Jason, I'll switch it around. Come to you first this time. Which one would you slot in there at number 8?
Probably Sam McCartan. I just thought he was fantastic. He was taken apart on Saturday evening by my brother's team in the championship here, but other than that, he was fantastic throughout. It's just, he's kind of somewhat unassuming, he doesn't always stand out as being, the glory player in the team, because obviously, he's got guys behind him and in front of him who tend to take the limelight a little bit more. But he does the kind of dogged worker in the middle. I was going to say, he'd do well for kickouts, but we haven't gone long in a kickout in 3 games. Like, we've won, I think, the last 54 kickouts in a row, and we haven't lost a kickout since whatever it was, May or something like that. So it's not so much for the kickouts; it's just generally for his link play. He's got good vision. He's well able to spot a pass. I just think he's kind of an all-round solid player for us, but a guy who doesn't take a lot of the limelight either, which is good in some ways for us, because we don't want him earmarked by anybody. So yeah, definitely Sam McCartan, my one anyway.
Yeah, I think he's been a fantastic, really kind of under the radar addition for Westmeath. I think he slotted in perfectly into that team, and his goal against Laois early on in the TAILTEANN Cup really kind of separated the two sides and sent you on your way. That brings on Luke, the partner there for McCartan in midfield.
Yeah, look, I think it has to be Galligan, and I think, look, you mentioned some of the names that you said there as well. I'd have Sean Carabine in the half forward line. I'd have Gareth McKiernan in the half forward line as well. So I'd go Galligan in midfield. I think if Galligan as well, if Cavan win that, if he stays on the field and Cavan win it in the end, I think he's the player of the year. So look, I think he has to be in there as well. And look, kind of. I think as well, just the energy that he brought going forward as well. Some of the surgeon runs and everything as well. I just think he's a joy to watch as well. His kickouts as well. He's absolutely lording it as well the whole time too. I think he's just a quality player, and that, look, like, it'd be great to see him if he could get back up playing into the top tier kind of as well. Because look, that's where he deserves to be playing, where he belongs.
Yeah, agreed. I mean, he hit 1-4 or something from midfield in one of the games. I mean, I'm pretty happy to go with Galligan. I think he was excellent throughout, and very similar to Tony Kelly in the hurling. It's going to be, can you really ride off the entire season for one mistake? Galligan was fantastic, and he's one of the best fielders in the country. Which then brings us into the forwards. And if the defense has been tough and if the midfield has been tough, I feel like the forwards is where it is going to get absolutely the worst. We've got a load of names here. So I'm going to move the midfield names into the forward line. Of course, Luke was saying about Sean Carabine, Gerard McKiernan. They've got Ronan O'Toole, John Heslin, Alan Reilly, Lorcan Dolan, Keith Byrne, Luke Loughlin. On top of that, we've Adrian Varley from New York, Niall McNamee from Offaly, Keith O'Neill from Offaly, Anton Sullivan as well from Offaly is another good shout. Chloe, how do you even begin to go with that? I mean, there's one obvious man from Westmeath, but I mean, apart from that, who's your first one?
Mine might be a shocker, but I like O'Toole really impressed me a lot. NUIG students. We all know in not only in this tournament, but in general, all the young ones trying to come in to and just impress their managers. And I think he did very well for his side. He made, I think, the contribution mightn't have been like up to standard, but it was a stepping stone in like the first bit of success in the career. It's a big confidence boost for him. And as I was saying, he's only a young age, and for me, it has to be O'Toole.
Yeah, agreed. I think O'Toole right up there, potentially for player of the competition. I think his first half performance was as good as we've seen from a player in a big stage on the final. Like in the first half, he was absolutely magnificent. 4 points from play. Nobody could get a handle on him. And yeah, so I'm pretty happy to put him in. I'm going to go directly to Luke now. You threw 2 lads that you would have had into the half forward line. So just in case Jason has different ideas, which one would you want to bank on getting in there, McKiernan or Carabine?
I'll go Carabine. I'll go Carabine out wing forward, and then I'll play him as one of the half forwards anyway as well. And I think, I do think that. Yeah, I think the two of them probably deserve to get in based on their performances as well. But look, just to be fair now, I've said a few Cavan lads already, so I'll go with Carabine. And look, his scoring tallies from midfield, kind of a lot of the time from midfield. He really carried Sligo a bit, and look, he was the big name that emerged from Sligo. Previously, look, Niall Murphy was kicking all the scores for Sligo, and the fact that Niall Murphy carrying knocks and everything as well, he really stepped up. And I think he was the big kind of shining light from him as well, and probably the name that stood out to most people as well from their run.
Yeah, no, I think he was absolutely excellent, and his powerful runs from of course midfield were a feature of Sligo's championship, and he was one of their biggest threats. And to do that from midfield shows the absolute class that he has. Jason, you have the casting vote for the half forward line. Of course, you've John Heslin at centre forward for your own team. Don't worry, we can move him into the full forward line, because I think Heslin has to be there for me. Heslin absolutely has to be there. Would McKiernan make it centre forward for you?
Yeah, I'd McKiernan, I suppose, in midfield for mine. But yeah, he probably would make it in. I suppose I have to give a couple of mentions. Well, I did text my team on to Anton Sullivan the other night, and I just texted on to see how he'd react to the fact that I didn't put him in for the crack, and he jokingly said he felt very hard done by. To be fair, I would say he probably does deserve some kind of mention, even on my list of bench as well. But yeah, McKiernan, I suppose, if we're not putting him in midfield, he has to be in the half forwards. And even going back to Thomas Gallagher as well, Luke is absolutely right. He would have been the player of the year without a shadow of a doubt if it wasn't for the Gary Ringrose-esque kind of challenge that went in that game. So I think McKiernan has to kind of go in. I'm just looking at the forwards that I put in, and I don't know how I have to pull one of these out now in a few minutes, but yeah, definitely Gerald McKiernan would go in for me anyway.
All right, so time to piss off pretty much everyone watching by picking the full forward line and picking only 3 of the remaining names. I'd like to submit one and throw it in. And I'm going to ask you, Chloe, do you agree with me? The person that I'd like to save is Alan Reilly from Sligo. I think at times for them in the championship, he was a leading light. In the London game, I thought that they were in trouble. I thought Reilly kind of came to the fore and saved them when they needed someone to step up.
Big time. He scored. I totally agree. He scored the 1-6 against against London. Sorry, and on the team of the week, and he's one of that has put on a great performance. And even though Cavan and Sligo didn't go their way, he was a big name that deserves a real mention. I know it's only just to pick out that one game, the 1-6, it's a great scoreline to get in any game. And, I totally agree. He's definitely one of the stars for Sligo in this game.
Yeah. Jason, I'm going to come to you. John Heslin, is he full forward or corner forward?
Look, if I'm swapping around, he's full forward all day long. I wouldn't have saved Reilly from Sligo after all the Sligo fans pissing me off with their stupid comments saying they wanted 9 Sligo players in the team and what was they doing with all the Westmeath lads. Headland's definitely full forward. without a doubt, he's now officially Westmeath's highest scorer ever. He overtook Desi Dolan, high score, I think, in the Tailteann Cup overall. Possibly, I haven't seen stats, but I'm guessing he's thereabouts. He
Top
was a good
scorer
few
in the
ahead.
history of the competition.
Yeah, that's quite the feat to write down. Put that in your CV. Yeah, it has to be Heslin as well. I'm just looking at the other ones I have here, and I'm going to leave it up to Luke or yourself, Seamus.
Yeah.
Pick the last one. I don't know where to go next. So.
All right, so we'll leave it down to the Play on GAA boys to decide the last slot in the team. Luke, who we think in this last spot? Good shouts: Keith Byrne, Lorcan Dolan, Luke Mclaughlin, Adrian Varley, Niall McNamee, Anton Sullivan. Which one are you thinking?
Yeah, I was also thinking Paddy Lynch as well. So there's a fair few names. Yeah. So it's it's very difficult one to call. Look, initially I was thinking Paddy Lynch. So look, but then like Lorcan Dolan's a good shout as well. Look, Luke Mclaughlin did have a good campaign as well, and yeah, look, it's very difficult to narrow it down to probably. And then as well, I just want to pretty Offaly as well. I'm surprised I haven't pushed for more Offaly representatives myself here. So yeah, look, Keith O'Neill too would be a good shout as well. So look, it's a coin toss really. I think just every time I watch him, I really like watching Paddy Lynch, and that every time he plays, I just think he looks unmarkable. And like you talk about, Heslin is the marquee forward for Westmeath, and he's the fella that everyone has to stop. And I just feel like Lynch is that player too. Whether his performances were quite as good in the Tailteann Cup as what they were earlier on the year, I'm not fully sure as well. So that's the thing. If we're only factoring in the Tailteann Cup, I don't know if Lynch gets in. But if it's including kind of everything that came before, I do think that Lynch does get in. So it's look, I'll leave. I can pass over to you, Seamus, there based on that.
Yeah, Paddy Lynch, I think, is a very, very good shout. It's the fact that like he is a marked man going into every game. That point he scored against Sligo was ridiculous, where he the ball looked like it was going for the pigeons on the top of the stadium, and then managed to curl back in. Like, remarkable point. He has so much ability, he has so much class. I think Keith Byrne was so good for Leitrim as well, but the fact that they got eliminated at the quarters, like it does make you think, like, how far should he get into this team? Lorcan Dolan, I think, is such a good shout as well. He kicked crucial goals at crucial stages for Westmeath. I don't like this. I don't like this. I think I'm going to go with Lorcan Dolan. I think I'm going to go with Lorcan Dolan. I think the goals at crucial stages, look, Leitrim definitely don't make it as far as they did without Keith Byrne, but I don't think Westmeath win the Tailteann Cup without Lorcan Dolan's goals. So I think, or maybe not. Maybe they would have. I don't know. Right, I've said it. Lorcan Dolan. So that's
a big shout.
So that is our team. Paddy Lynch is the impact sub off the bench. Not a bad one to have. But yeah, that is the final 15 that we've gone with. We've gone with obviously Jack Cooney as the manager from Westmeath. Then we've got Ray McGalligan from Cavan in goal. Fullback line of Evan Lyons from Sligo, Kevin Maguire and Jamie Ganood, both from Westmeath. A half-back line of two more Westmeath men, Jack Smith and Ronan Wallace, with Jason McLaughlin at left half-back from Cavan. Midfield is Sam McCartan from Westmeath and Thomas Galligan from Cavan. Half-forward line, Ronan O'Toole from Westmeath, Gerard McKiernan from Cavan and Sean Carabine from Sligo. Full forward line is Lorcan Dolan from Westmeath, John Heslin from Westmeath, and Alan Reilly from Sligo. So there will be an Instagram post up with the substitutes bench included. So make sure you go there if you want to tell us just how wrong we are and how little we know about the sport. And until the next one, guys, here. Until the next one, guys, take care.